Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related topics. I'm Shanae Howard. This is Thomas Shelby.
Hi guys.
This is Ryan Robinson.
Hi.
Why you laughing?
I just thought of something dumb.
As per usual.
Sure.
So guys, what have y'all been playing?
Well, we already talked about Final Fantasy VII. So I bought this game that's really good called Murder by Numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sandra Bullock.
yeah. And it's the guys that made Hatoful Boyfriend with the composer of the Ace Attorney games as well as Ghost Trick. And it's like Phoenix Wright and Picross mixed together. And it's set in the 90s in LA, and it's just super fun, really well written. Like, it's very funny. I like it a lot.
What console is it on?
It's on the Switch and PC. I don't know if it's on anything else. I don't believe so.
I looked it up. I only found it on Switch and computer.
Yeah. So I've been playing that, and that's a lot of fun. I finally beat Doom 2016.
Hell yeah, man.
Nice.
And that was a lot of fun.
Just took you 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. That's about it. That's
4
about it.
years old.
I've been playing some other stuff here and there, but that's all I really care to talk about.
What about you, Ryan?
I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter V Champion Edition.
Mm-hmm. Because you're a champion.
I feel like it sometimes, yeah.
You are.
Getting my matches in every day. Feeling good about that. And playing a lot of Division 2. That game is a lot of fun with another player. So,
Yeah.
What's up?
For a second, I thought my brain heard Division 2, but went to Divinity 2. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you were playing that. And I was like, nope,
No, I
nope,
don't play.
nope.
I don't play that.
Well, I mentioned it in the garage, which is why it came to your brain.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We used to talk about
Actually,
Divinity
well,
1.
it's funny because I was talking about Divinity Original Sin 2 the other day because I was thinking about playing it again ahead of the release of Baldur's Gate 3.
Berto really loves that game. We're also talking about it in the garage. Berto's has his new computer and stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be after we move into our new place and get that set up. I'm gonna finish building the parts that computer needs and have a computer, so people
Just
can't.
use his.
Yeah. Share a computer. It's called a family computer for a reason.
Yeah,
Well-
put ransomware on it.
Yeah,
Well,
malware.
like normally when I'm home,
Put a
he's playing
keyboard
it.
logger on there so you know what he's doing.
So I know it's super. All right, how do y'all stand on like in relationships, like sharing your location with the other person?
No.
Do you and your
whatever.
partner do this?
Well, we both have Find My iPhone on each other's phones because we lose our phones all the time.
Yeah,
So,
but like.
I mean, that by default tracks the location of the phone.
Do you ever like look at where you're like where they are?
Nah.
Nah, I just we have a.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've done it before. But
Wow.
I think it's so weird. Like me and we were talking about it. I was like,
I need to know where she is at all times so I can go to wherever she is and make
Yeah.
a scene if I need to.
yeah. Well, like I'm not good at scene making.
What were you doing at Walgreens?
Like, what were you doing? You were at Walgreens for like 15 minutes doing what?
Who were
What's
you
it-
seeing?
Like, who are you talking to at Walgreens?
Yeah.
What's the cashier's name?
Yeah, like, what the fuck? So it makes sense in
Yeah.
an established, secure relationship. It makes sense to do that.
Who's Wendy?
I see that you were at Wendy's. Who is that?
Who's that bitch? Fucking redhead hoe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the only time I could think about it is like I used to do a lot of solo road trips where I would be driving like 8 to like 13 hours by myself. So like then I think it would be like fair, like
Nah.
I was also doing it because like she would do Uber Eats like at night, and it made me nervous because I was afraid that someone might kidnap her, and I wanted to be able to go to her if I needed to.
I mean she's pretty adorable, so fair.
But like it's not like I don't do like I never look at it. Like I'm not checking up on her or anything because that's creep.
I mean you could always like text him.
Yeah, just be like, where you at?
Yeah.
But then again, like I don't really often have the reason to ask anyone that. So
Yeah. I just think it's a weird trait that I'm saying like as being more normalized.
sure. Oh, that's because of the
That's
watch
sad.
watch underscore dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to tell you guys about Division 2 though.
Sorry.
So a new expansion just came out called Warlords of New York. Warlords. As you may or may not know, the Division 1 takes place in New York City. The Division 2 takes place in Washington, D.C. But this expansion has you going back to New York to find and kill a rogue Division agent. And it's like a whole it's a whole other open area with like new quests and new equipment and like new skills and stuff. And it's really, really, really exciting that I haven't gotten to play it yet.
That's interesting. I often wonder with stuff like that, how many reused assets there are.
Yeah, and I guess I don't remember enough of the map from the first game to be able to say, but I imagine there are probably a lot.
And not that I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I don't get about the Division though is I don't know if either of you remember, there was some hullabaloo about car doors, about being able to close the car doors.
It was just like, look at the tech. It's the same thing as like when Nathan Drake ran his hand on a wall.
Oh yeah.
You know.
So like, there's even like the Division 2 even is even at the point where if you close 2 car doors at the same time, you get a trophy. But like, I just thought it was weird that the game never allows you to like open a door and use it as cover.
Yeah.
I thought that would be really neat. They should do that for the Division 3.
You listening, Division?
You should do a series of extended Let's Plays of the Division called Long Division.
Sure. Well, those are called long plays.
Yeah.
So Long Division's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. Division 2 is a really cool game that I think people should play. It's a really awesome game. I love it.
Yeah.
So. Blurp.
I've been I marathoned all of Letterkenny.
That's a funny fucking show.
All right.
Figure it out.
I've been saying
Figured it out.
I've been saying that to Berto a lot. Like he asked me a dumb question the other day. I was like, figure it out.
Figure it out.
And also to be fair.
To be fair. That's funny.
Gail is probably
that horny bartender
is probably the one that gets the most laughs out of me. It also makes me the most uncomfortable.
Because she's a horny pervert like you.
Because she doesn't stop moving. Like in like I think like 2 seasons, she just is constantly of movement, and I'm just like, stand fucking still.
Yeah, but you don't do that. You're a fidgeter.
I am a fidgeter, but I'm not like all the time.
Sure, I would hate that.
I would hate it too. So yeah, no, that is. I even like went and watched like, all the YouTube that was like because that's what it got famous for, and then they gave him a show. Crave TV did. Super super funny. And then almost done with Smallville, and then I mentioned last show, I'm on my 4th playthrough with Fire Emblem, and like to be as unspoiler as possible, I didn't realize with the 4th way because I didn't read anything about it because I didn't want it to spoil, but I wish I did now. So I played like one playthrough or like half a playthrough that I had left of like my 3rd house because there's 3 houses. And I was like, all right, why am I not seeing these? Like, I know there's new characters. I know there's new things. Like, why am I not seeing it? I didn't realize that I had to play the side story that, like, got added. But, like, on the list of stuff, like, you have to scroll down to see the option for side story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize you had to do the side story to then get the characters into your main playthrough.
I see.
So, now I'm doing...
You didn't even know.
Didn't even know. And so I'm doing that now. Because I started my 4th playthrough and I was just like, I'm still not seeing them. And I'm in like the 3rd chapter of it. And I was like, I have to be doing something wrong. So I finally went and looked up and I was like, oh. And it's like, and I kind of regret putting the side story on the hardest difficulty because they assign you what characters you're going to be playing instead of like being able to like pick houses or like who you're playing with.
Yeah.
And then also like assigns each of them like their own class, and you can't really like you don't have anything to like really change that. Like you don't have the like seals or things that you need to like make them the class that you liked them to be. So a lot of these characters are like either characters I do like, but they're in classes that are not optimized in my opinion for or how I like to play them.
Right.
So I keep dying, and I think that I'm about to restart it and put it at an easier difficulty because I'm not progressing through it.
Do it.
Yeah, play it the way that's fun to you.
Yeah. Well, like I was like, no, Sinead, like you've been playing this game so much, you're so good at it.
I mean, you're already not playing with permadeath, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So who cares?
Yeah.
So I just like, but I play it as I have permadeath. It's just those.
Sure.
Yeah, like I still redo like a lot of battles and stuff if a character dies. I still like go through it, like I said, like I am playing with permadeath. I just don't want to like get discouraged like I am right now with the game.
Is this a thing? And let me know if it's a thing in Fire Emblem already. But do you think they would get to the point where they added something of an Iron Man mode in that game, in which it like the game will automatically save after every turn? Do you think they'll ever do that?
Probably not.
I don't think it's ever been that way.
Okay. It's never been that way, but they probably will never add it just because, I mean, this is the bread and butter of like Fire Emblem is to do like the turn-based strategy. So like being able to do that does break some of the levity of your choices. Like even like in casual mode and like the fact that they have like a rewind thing right now, and based on like your level and stuff is like how many rewinds you get.
Typically like an Iron Man mode is like an optional thing.
Right.
So
well, also just in general, the series as it has gone on game to game has become easier and easier.
I see.
As most games tend to be nowadays.
Right.
So I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, they have the ability to obviously take any of the easy stuff out of there, like as far as that goes.
Sure. But like just in general, the base game, they've done things to make Fire Emblem easier. Same thing with shooters, same thing with fighting games, right? Just the battles are easier. You have more options rather than here's your one option to win, and if you don't realize that, you need to restart. You know, like
yeah, that's
kind of like I was talking about with Wargroove a few weeks ago.
So at some point was Fire Emblem more akin to like a puzzle game with one solution?
Oftentimes, yes. Not every battle, but a lot of battles, yes.
Okay.
And that was my biggest problem with Wargroove, whereas in something like Advance Wars, you could be more experimental.
Right.
But I mean, it's not impossible. But Nintendo, I mean, if you look at every big genre nowadays, the majority of them over time have become easier, right? 3-frame links versus 1-frame links in fighting games, right? Like, that's just how it is.
Well.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's what I've been playing. That's what I've been watching.
I did want to bring up another game that I forgot to talk about.
Do it.
It's a game that I've only scratched the surface on, but it's pretty fun so far. It's called Coffee Talk.
Oh, I've heard of this game.
Have either of you played like Valhalla or Red Strings Club?
I've heard of those, but I have not played them.
Valhalla Jotun?
No. So it's like I guess it's a genre now where it's like a visual novel, but you're serving drinks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this one, you're a barista, so you're serving up coffee. It's very weird. Like, it's weird to me that it's its own thing now, but like it is, right? Like Valhalla is that sort of a game. Red Strings Club is that sort of a game. So yeah, you're serving up coffee, but it's like modern day Seattle, but like alternate reality where like fantasy creatures are a thing. So like orcs exist and like elves exist and all that, right?
Right.
But like it's advanced to the point that we are today. So they're not warring; they're just living amongst each other in the United States in 2020. It's really weird. In Seattle.
That sounds cool.
It's fun. It's fun. Coffee Talk.
Are you playing this on the Nintendo Switch?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I am.
You do your latte art.
Are you good at that?
I'm really bad at it.
I see.
Real bad.
I see.
I was like really down for the game until I found out how to do something with art.
I mean, you don't have to.
Well, you just failed the Starbucks interview, bud.
You could just put a bunch of squiggles all over it.
And they'll still like it?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, it's an interesting game. It's I don't know. I played like maybe half or more of Red Strings Club and really enjoyed it till my PC died. I haven't played Valhalla, but I am interested in it, and it's weird. It's just always weird to me when there's like a new genre that is so specific, such a specific thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That just means more video games.
Yeah, for sure.
So this week, we're going to talk about naming conventions. And to kind of be more specific about that is like naming trends in an established series.
Name that game.
That could be the title of this episode.
It will not be.
Oh, it could be.
It could be, but it will not be. I've decided. I'll tell you later.
And Tom, I think it was episode 32 or 31 that you mentioned that you want to talk about it, and we've never done it.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm
that was
pretty
forever
sure
ago.
that was 31. I don't fucking know, huh?
You're so funny, Thomas.
Hey, Tom,
As I recall, episode 30. Yeah,
go fuck yourself.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but Tom, you mentioned like you really wanted to talk about like the naming conventions when it comes to Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
but like, I don't know. Like, it's funny. You see games now that are too scared to put a number on things. It's
Don't
not
do
that they're too
it.
scared. It's because it's smart to not put a number on things.
Don't
right?
do it.
Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal,
Yeah.
right? It's benefits,
Everyone thought they were going to call it Doom 2.
right? It benefits them it behooves them to not put a number on it
Right.
because a number scares away a lot of potential buyers.
I got to play the first one.
Right. So it's interesting to me that Final Fantasy as a series, like Ryan said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? But then we get to like 10 and then 10-2.
Yeah.
When like, to me, it would be more interesting, like it would make more sense for it to be like 10 and then Final Fantasy 10 : whatever,
Right.
or like 13 especially, right? 13, 13-2, Lightning Returns, like
Yeah.
this is very strange to me. And they did that to an extent with like Final Fantasy 7 because you
Yeah.
had Dirge of Cerberus, you had Crisis Core,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't Final Fantasy 7 .5,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Like,
The Final Fantasy is weird because, like, I think that, like you said, putting a number behind the game will scare people away from playing it because they're going to feel like if you don't know anything about Final Fantasy, it's like, do I got to play the first 6 before I play 7?
well, especially when like Doom Eternal will probably be story related, like very much connected to Doom 2016.
Right.
Whereas Final Fantasy 7 1 through 7,
They're not.
they're not.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
So
there are, like,
it would make more sense for them to not worry about a number.
yeah,
You
but
know what
I
mean?
think that with a long-standing franchise like Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
like I guess it's probably just easier to put the number after it than think
Yeah.
of a new subtitle every time. That being said,
But I mean, then we get things like 3 and 6, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just very strange.
yeah,
Sorry, I was bringing up like different lists because I mean, there's also like the spin-off games like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
That like
Tactics Advance, War of the Lions.
yeah.
Fucking Dissidia NT, and fucking
We've got
Theater Rhythm, and
And-
I've got Dissidia and T at my house.
yeah.
Side note, that game's real hard.
And if you don't know anything about the Final Fantasy series, I mean, I guess it doesn't really behoove them to put their names on there, things like that. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, you know, Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm or whatever.
Right, but like I just think like that makes sense, right? Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy makes sense as to what that game is, and it's not part of these other games in the series, right?
Right.
But like we were saying, to have a numbered series
When none of
when
the
they're
stories,
not really connected,
Yeah.
like Zelda, right? Zelda, besides Zelda 2, they've never put a number on their games.
Right.
I very much doubt Breath of the Wild sequel will be called Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
You know, but
I mean,
yeah,
Breath of the Wild, more breaths,
sure.
less wild.
Was there a numbered Metroid after Metroid 2?
I mean,
Was
the
it even
Prime
called
series-
Metroid 2?
Yeah,
It was? Okay.
the Prime series.
Well,
is
like
numbered,
before the
but-
Prime series, though.
No.
Okay. Because it was like Metroid and then Metroid 2, then it was Super Metroid.
Yeah,
But like I think that like again, it's easier with a long-standing franchise like Final Fantasy to just put numbers on it instead of doing a subtitle every time. I think subtitles for each of those games would be more interesting though, especially like and I think also like you could just like it could have just like the subtitle could be like whatever this game is basically about.
right.
Like it could have been just like Final Fantasy 15 could have been like Final Fantasy : Best Friends or something.
Them boys.
Yeah.
Or that like we the Final Fantasy : We Them Boys.
Right, because even as like the numbered entries go, the first several you could definitely lump in as part of the same franchise, right? But like outside the existence of like Chocobo and Cactar and stuff, Moogles,
Sid.
outside of those things, 15 is nothing like Final Fantasy 1 or 2,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it might as well be just like separate franchises,
Yeah.
honestly. But
I mean, and then also like you think about like other things that are named, are not named, numbered, like Call of Duty.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, 'cause there's like Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, the Big Red or whatever.
But even those are numbered, like not the early games because they were all Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But as the game went on and created separate series, they were
Yep.
numbered differently. So there's like Call of Duty Ghosts,
Yeah.
Advanced Warfare, right? Like they're not part of the same thing, even though they are part of the same thing. Well, that's why you get Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yep.
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
Yeah, but like even with Call of Duty though, like Call of Duty's 1 through 3, like I'd be hard pressed to like find the through line between Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty 3. Like yes, they're both World War II games, but like I couldn't.
It's in the mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like, as far as I can tell, there's no like real, and again, my memory of Call of Duty 2 is removed by like 15 years, but
Sure.
like I don't remember any like coherent, like cohesive story to that game.
No. I mean, it's in the mechanics.
Yeah.
You know, you know what you're getting with a Call of Duty game as far as how that game's going to feel and control and
Right.
you know, things of that nature. But yeah,
And then Battlefield also got rid of the numbering as much too.
yeah.
Yeah. Cause it was, and that's the
Although 5 was the last one, right?
yeah.
So,
So it was,
there's a number.
so like even with
Yeah, so it got
Battlefield though,
away,
like, because you had Battlefield 2, and then you had like Battlefield Vietnam, and then Battlefield
Hardline,
1945,
19,
and
whatever.
then there was Battlefield 3, and then Battlefield 4, and then with again with Call of Duty,
Bad
like they've
Company.
Bad Company is really good, but
Levolution.
well, like with Call of Duty though, like there's like so many offshoots, like because you have Modern Warfare, then you have the Black Ops,
Right.
and then
The cops.
Yeah, and then you got, but then they have offshoots of that. Then you got your Advanced War, then you've got your Infinity, or like, what's it called, Infinity War or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't
Call
know.
of Duty Infinity Wars.
Okay,
No.
it's
Well,
called like,
Infinity
Yep.
Ward is one of the developers.
but it was like Call of Duty Infinity something,
Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare. Yeah,
I was doing the joke off the.
I think Infinity Wars would be cool. Though.
And you know what's funny is like it is separate series within the same franchise, right?
Yeah.
But like Call of Duty players don't look at it that way.
Sure.
Right. Like I've got a friend who competes, makes quite a bit of money off of Call of Duty, and she plays all of them every year.
Yeah.
Moves on to the next one because that's what people are competing in.
Right.
You know, she doesn't like the newest Call of Duty, but that's what she's playing. You
Yeah.
know?
Because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Money.
But I think one of my favorite things with naming in video games is Kingdom Hearts, and I would like to hear you explain some of them to me because, like, I was talking to the kids about Final Chapter Prologue and why it does make sense, right? But like, there's like I don't know Birth by Sleep, I don't know 3, 5, 8 days over 2 or whatever it is. Give me some of these, Shanae.
Yeah, I also wanted to go through them real fast because, like, if you are going to talk about naming conventions, like, you should talk about Kingdom Hearts because everyone does. They're a little bit nanners. So there's Kingdom Hearts 1, that makes sense, it's the first game. And then Chain of Memories comes out. Chain of Memories is the card game. You are going into a place called Castle Oblivion, and you have a character that gets created because of the events of Kingdom Hearts 1. And that character is trying to become their own being, and they do that with your memories. So you are going through a chain of events to try and keep those memories to the main guy, Sora, and really
Well, here's the thing.
make him a real boy again.
When it comes to stuff like that, I totally get it, right? Even without knowing that, I can gather that Chain of Memories probably has something to do with the story. But things like 3, 5, 8 days over 2.
Well, I'm just gonna go through it. So
you're
then
gonna go through all of them?
just real fast.
Okay.
Then
better
there's
be
Kingdom
really
Hearts 2,
fast,
second
Shanae.
one. And then Kingdom Hearts Recoded. That was a side DS game. Due to certain events, you don't have like the memory or like events of what happened in the first game, so you are recoding that into your brain.
I see. Okay.
3, 5, 8 days over 2 is the time that people started really making fun of the series, and that is because you are living through 358 days, and it's the two boys that, like I said, like it happened from the first Chain of Memories.
358 days with 2 boys.
So like the events, not that like it's not like a game in like where the Dream Drop Distance, which I'm going to talk about in a bit, but it is what happens to two boys over those 358 days over two, and how it kind of or 358 days. So like
They fall in love.
Yeah. So they fall in love, and
To become one.
It makes sense
really
yet
good
again in
song.
the game. I feel like my mic is like being a bit weird. Maybe it might be my headset.
It's just all the Kingdom Hearts that can't handle it.
Yeah. So like yet again, the name makes sense if you play the game. If you just hear it, it just sounds bonkers. Birth by Sleep is, so that game is a prequel to anything that we've come so far, and it explains why that the characters that can wield Keyblades can, and so it's the birth of their powers, and also
By sleeping.
and also one of the characters
sleeping.
imprints his heart onto Sora, which is why he gets the power, and it is kind of like a sleeping vest, like kind of like I don't want to say parasite, but it's just like he is in Sora's heart now and kind of trying to revive himself. So it is also implying that later he is going to be able to get revived through like, restoring itself in Sora's heart. So Birth by Sleep also yet again goes towards what the game is if you play the game. A lot of these titles don't make sense unless you play the game.
See, those are the ones I don't give a shit about, because that's something like, that's with all video games, right? Like that's with half the Assassin's Creed series and like Doom, and like that doesn't matter to me. The ones that I care about are the weird, like Dream Drop Distance was obviously because it was on the 3DS, right? 3Ds, but like Final Chapter Prologue and like that. Those are the
I just
more
got
interesting ones.
So yeah, well, also because like you are dropping out of these two, because they're in their dream world, like a dream-esque world or a sleep world, and these things are asleep, and you're dropping in between as Sora and Riku into those, and you're on a timer. So yet again, 3Ds because it's on 3DS, and Dream Drop because that's what you're doing. Final Chapter Prologue yet again sounds nanners, but it
It sounds like it makes sense to me.
yeah, like so it's
Like a pre-sequel.
It's ending of what happens in Birth by Sleep into what's happening
A
now.
prologue to the next game, right?
Into what's happened. A prologue to 3.
Pre-sequel.
So it is. So what happens?
Squeakle.
What happens in Birth by Sleep is before Kingdom Hearts 1. But what happens in Final Chapter Prologue is bringing in those events into the new game, so you can add those characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I like it.
and then there's of course 3, which is the next installment of like the main series, and I'm doing air quotations. You can't see if you're an audio listener. And then Dark Road is about one of the characters.
I never heard of that.
Dark Road.
Yeah, Fury Road.
Yeah.
It's Goofy playing the guitar on that truck.
No, it's Goofy. Goofy is in Morton Joe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, I do feel like the franchise has
Cool.
been hurt 1000% by the naming conventions with their series.
No way. I think that
I feel like the fans love that
yeah.
shit.
Like even I think it's cool, And
Yeah,
I don't play those games.
Yeah.
Well, so if you are trying to get people to be really into the games because of the fact that they will do like a splash screen video with like, what is her, Ukatara? What is her name? The singer?
Utada Hikaru.
Utada Hikaru. Thank you. Like her singing, and they'll do like flash, but it doesn't explain any of the story of what happened in the past games. And any of these side games are not like what people call side games that are like on handholds or like not a numbered structure. A lot of people just skip, so they don't understand what's going on in the story. And as a fan, like I do love the naming conventions, and I like they make sense. And I'm going.
You feel like those side games are necessary to understanding the main story?
Yes.
Okay.
Even the mobile one.
To some extent, yeah.
Okay.
Because it explains where Keyblades came from. It explains why
Hey, where did Keyblades come from?
your heart.
It's when a mouse and a Goofy love each other very much,
So like those side games also
and they yuck.
explain those side games also explain certain characters. You're like, what the fuck are you up to? Like in the main games, because they're just like, why are you being sketched? Like you're not being sketched how this like the antagonist of this game is being sketched. It seems like you're got your own shit going on. Why is that?
Okay.
It explains like and then also Kingdom Hearts 1 to 2, like when you start 2, you start playing as this boy named Roxas. And you're like, why the fuck am I Roxas?
Shanae, I think we're getting a little in the weeds here.
Sorry, yep. Bring it back.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think that because they're not numbered and that they have numbered games in the series,
Right.
people don't think of them as actual standalone games.
Well, what's funny is I bought Dream Drop Distance having not played any of them, You know,
Did you play it a little bit? And
I played a few hours of it, and I was like, "This is baby's RPG," and turn it off.
Okay.
But I'm serious.
I know. It's just like your thought processes on things are really funny to me sometimes.
But yeah, like the point is that I picked it up not knowing anything. You know.
Yeah.
Like if they had not gone to like 2 and 3 and also had them as like their own names, I think that it would have done much better.
Let me ask something. Are Chip and Dale in any Kingdom Hearts games?
Yes.
Really?
They're in a good portion of them.
Cool.
That's actually pretty
What
cool.
about Gadget?
They are the ones
Is she there?
No, they are the ones who build the gummy ship.
Okay.
Okay, what
Their
about...
their gummy ship mechanics?
This is a more important question. Where are Darkwing Duck and Launchpad McQuack?
They're not in there, but Scrooge McDuck is. He runs an ice cream shop.
That would never happen.
Nah, he wouldn't do that.
No, he makes a lot of money on that shit.
I want to talk about fighting games.
Oh yeah, because I wanted to bring up Guilty Gear, Revelator, Xrd. What's up?
Rev 2.
Yeah, Revelator 2.
So Xrd is just part of the Guilty Gear series, right? Rev 2 is because it's the second revision of Xrd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what is like? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what is an Xrd?
So fuck, I know it. Give me a second.
So
Let me get
it's part of like whatever the lore of Guilty Gear is, right?
Not really.
No. Okay.
It's more like third. Because there was X and then there was Double Cross. And then XR is like
now
the
it
third,
makes
right?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. Okay. Now
What about Guilty Gear XX Accent Core plus R?
Yeah, so that's a variation of Double Cross. XX is Double Cross.
Okay.
Okay, so say it again but say Double Cross.
Guilty Gear Double Cross Accent Core plus R.
Yeah, I don't know what all that is. I've never played it.
So that's another thing too, is like there are a lot of Japanese games have name of game cross, name of game double cross.
Right.
And I never understood
I like it.
I mean, because it looks cool, but like I don't get it.
Yeah.
What about Pro Jumper Guilty Gear Tangent?
I don't know. But anyway, like
I'm sorry, Tom, go on.
I think like if you look at like Street Fighter 2,
All the Street Fighter 2s.
right, of which there are many.
Yeah.
They kind of make sense, sort of. You know?
Well, because I think
like hyper fighting and turbo imply speed,
yeah.
right?
Well, Street Fighter is just like we're just trying to make the best version of this game that we made.
Right.
And so like we keep what's the word?
It's balance changes.
Yeah, we're
But
gonna
it's
keep
also gameplay tweaks.
and we keep iterating on it until we get it just right. So
Super was the addition of 4 more characters, right? Super Turbo, it's that with the speed, right? So like they kind of make sense, but like as the series goes on, it gets pretty weird. Like Street Fighter EX plus Alpha, it's kind of like I don't quite understand that one.
Yeah.
You know, all the upper games like Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper, you know, like it's very strange, and like they don't spell out upper.
Yeah.
You know, it's Street Fighter Alpha 3 with an arrow swishing upwards.
Cool.
But it's pronounced upper. You know? Like
Third Strike is the coolest name in the Street Fighter franchise. I stand by that.
And those all make sense, right?
No.
Street Fighter 3, the new generation. Street Fighter 3, Double Impact.
That's a
Street
cool
Fighter
name.
3, Third Strike.
Third Strike is such a cool
Like,
fucking name.
Those make sense because it's the new generation because it was a whole new cast originally. Originally, Ryu and Ken weren't even supposed to be in it.
What up, Necro?
They put him in there because a lot of complaints with test groups, with focus groups.
What up, Sean?
Double Impact because it was the second one and they added 2 more characters.
Yeah, Street Fighter
Third
3's
Strike because it was the third game of the 3 series.
and it's so fucking cool. Third Strike is a
Yeah.
fucking cool ass game.
Yeah.
But like it's also like it's a cool name too. And then
when I saw Street Fighter, I saw Third Strike before I'd seen the other 2 versions of it. So I just assumed that was the only Street Fighter 3, and it was just
well, actually, the first version
because
of,
it's 3.
the first version of that game I saw was Third Strike, and it was
Yeah.
like in a Game Pro magazine, and I thought they were calling it Third Strike because it was Street Fighter 3.
Right, me too. Yeah. But like those always interest me, and like they're weird, right? But they kind of make more sense because like Tekken 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like it shouldn't be called. Well, no, I guess it should be called 7. Fuck, one of the Tekkens. I feel. No, I'm thinking of Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur 6 should not be called Soul Calibur 6. Because it takes place like it's a prequel, like it's like a reboot. You know, it's not doesn't take place afterwards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, I feel like Tekken all like made sense. So, like Tekken.
Yes.
Tag
Tekken for the most
tournament.
part makes sense. I was thinking of Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur 6 does not make sense. It should not be called Soul Calibur 6. You know.
I feel like fighting games in particular make sense for being numbered.
Yeah. All the versions of Under Night, I don't understand. I'm sure there's reasoning for it.
I don't know any of the versions for Under Night.
Well, it's like Under Night in birth X late est. You know, like, and it's all spelled very weird with brackets and colons everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure there is like a logical explanation for it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and then there's like the Guilty Gear, and then BlazBlue or Blaze Blue. I was to say that like a lot of those do not make sense.
yeah, Continue and Shift, Chrono Phantasm. I don't know. Yeah, they're all very weird. But like they do, right? Like there's a reason they named them those things, and they do make sense. Even like Street Fighter 3 Alpha Max, like that makes sense. There's a reason for it, but like it's kind of weird.
Yeah. How about the manliest fighting game, Gorilla Marker the Wolf?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what Garo is. You know.
Well, it's for men.
Yeah, but that game is the manliest fighting game.
It is so fucking cool, Shanae.
What about I mean, also, what about games like Uncharted? I feel like that also makes sense to like number that instead of them each having their own name.
Well, yeah,
but those take place in an order.
Yeah, that's like a linear story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these games that have numbers on them don't have like a linear story or like some kind of cohesive narrative to them. But like, and like with Street Fighter, right? There is a narrative like in there, but it's like in the background.
Right.
You know, it's not at the forefront like it is with Uncharted.
Well, it definitely was with the Alpha series. Like you could tell they were younger characters in the Alpha series. You know? But
and I think that like that's what the Alpha subtitle was meant to imply.
Because it was 0 in Japan. But like the numbering convention of Street Fighter is all over the place, though.
Yeah.
Like 5 isn't the most recent in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So that's kind of everywhere as well. But yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. Like Assassin's Creed, right? Like those started off numbered and then numbered with a subtitle and then just a subtitle. And I don't know.
They stopped numbering them all together.
Yeah.
I mean, so cause I think Revelations came out right before 3. I think it was in between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that was right after 3.
But then there's 4 Black Flag.
Yeah,
It's not called Black Flag. It's not called 4. It's 4 Black Flag.
Yeah,
right?
and then after that it was Origins, and then it's Odyssey, and then the next one I think is going to be called
And like those are all
Ragnarok.
over the place timeline wise. Like those don't go in a specific order.
Right.
That's very much the nature of that series. But like I don't know, it's just kind of weird.
I feel like the reason Street Fighter is all over the place is because they fucked up and put their birth dates in Street Fighter 2. And so like this is why they're not old now, because like Ryu was born in 1961, so he should be over 50 years old by now.
Sure.
But he ain't. So that's what I think it is.
You're probably not wrong. What are you looking at?
Bloodlines is the one I was trying to remember.
Bloodlines.
You know what I really hate?
Castlevania?
Oh, and Brotherhood.
Oh, you're talking about Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, no, talking about all the side Assassin's Creed games.
About Brotherhood.
That like, because like there's Assassin's Creed, then Assassin's Creed, Altier's Chronicles, like
Altair.
Altair. It's Arabic.
I can't pronounce stuff.
Altair.
I like that.
Say it one more
fella.
time.
Altair. This reminds me, it's not the same thing, but it reminds me of me and Tom were talking about what video game characters listen to, and we were saying that Zangief from Street Fighter listens to Tetris.
It's the only Russian music we could think of.
Have you heard the Tetris song? That is like...
I also don't like when video games imply that the franchise is done when it's not. Like Final Doom.
Yeah. Well,
Final Fantasy?
I always took that as to be...
That's different, though. Final Fantasy is named Final Fantasy because Square thought that would be the last game they would be able to publish.
I always took Final Doom as
wrong.
like this is like the ultimate version of this game.
That's Ultimate Doom.
Oops.
And even Ultimate Doom
Ultra Doom.
That's just Doom 1 with an extra episode.
Yeah.
Which game series are you thinking of where it said like says it's gonna be the end of it?
Final Doom
Yeah.
implies an ending.
Which other games?
I don't know off the top of my head, but they exist for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of times they said this is gonna be the last Assassin's Creed game.
No, but like when the title implies that it's the last game in a series, specifically. You
Final
know?
Doom. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Like Final Chapter Prologue.
Yeah, kinda. Sure.
Well, yeah, final chapter, because then, like, what was the final chapter meant to be?
Yeah.
You know, was that Kingdom Hearts 3? Was that the final chapter or no?
It's the final chapter of the storyline they're doing now. Like they've already implied there's going to be other Kingdom Hearts games, but they're going to be same
So
universe, different characters.
I have a recent one that I want you to try to explain to me, which you might not be able to do because the most recent game we have not played yet because it's not out.
Oop.
Bravely Default, Bravely Second, Bravely Default 2.
What? One more time.
Bravely Default was the first one.
Okay.
Bravely Second was the second one.
Right.
And now we're getting Bravely Default 2.
So what is Bravely Second supposed to be? Pre-sequel?
No, from the little bit I played of it, because I didn't play much of it, isn't it?
I'm going to keep saying pre-sequel.
I mean, I don't know,
applies.
but I thought you might have, because I know you were big into the first one, so I thought you might have some
I
kind
was
of
huge in
insight.
the first one. I didn't really get into the second one.
Yeah.
I played just a little bit of it, but I think they were different characters.
Okay.
And I think maybe the two will be the same characters, but going on further. Or they could do like the golden sun, or they could do the golden sun route where they play like you play as their children.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. That'd be cool.
I don't like children.
Like, I mean, Golden Sun could have like done like twos and stuff instead of just doing like Golden Sun Dark Mana.
Yeah.
But there's also a couple different versions of Golden Sun, like the original one that came out. So
Yeah.
that was a good series too.
I like games that are named very straight to the point.
Like what?
Like Downwell. I know what that is.
But like that's not a series, right? So it's
Sure.
they're not as likely to run into this issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, it'd be cool if Downwell 2 happened. Deep Well.
Upwell happened.
Or Exit the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Alice Madness Returns, another one that is like could be numbered and wasn't.
What?
That's true.
But I think that they probably also was a smart decision because the first one was harder to play, like it wasn't on the same console.
Wait, what did you say?
Alice Madness Returns.
Oh, okay.
You could play it on the same console. Not with every version, but like the collector's edition of Madness Returns came with the first one.
Yep.
Uh,
But I don't think before the release of it that you could get it on Xbox.
I really don't know.
The American McGee's one? I don't think you could.
That's the other thing that I like is Jonathan Blow's The Witness, American McGee's Alice. Like when they put their name before it.
Yeah, it makes it more official, you know?
Yeah.
And also, I was wrong about Bravely Second. It is the same characters.
Wait, it is officially called Jonathan Blow's The Witness?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Which we laughed about before because to me it sounded like Jonathan was blowing the witness.
That's how you sway a trial.
Yeah.
Was it called Jonathan Blow's Braid?
No. But yeah, that always amused me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of titles on the NES are pretty like straightforward what they are.
Surprised me that P-Mall never did that. Peter Molyneux's Fable.
Yeah, and especially like with the way that he seems to regard
Love
himself.
himself, yeah.
That would make sense. Did Michael Bithell ever put his name ahead of his games?
No, but his studio is called Bithell Games.
Next best thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, that's the same as Kojima Productions, right?
Yeah, Hideo Kojima's, whatever.
I mean,
Well, they always called it a Hideo Kojima game. That's what they always say.
as somebody who's not a Metal Gear fan, or like not like I dislike it, but just never got into it.
Uh-huh.
The naming conventions on those have been a little confusing for me.
I think those are mostly like most of the Kingdom Hearts ones where they just refer to something in the story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like I assume that.
Peace Walker, Phantom Pain, like those all refer to.
Yeah, because then
Like Phantom Pain, I assumed that at some point he lost a limb.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of time also like someone will be the titular line person in one of those games.
Such as
Peace Walker.
And there are theories that Phantom Pain is supposed to be like a double meaning. Like Snake lost a limb, but also like Kojima didn't get to finish the game. So like, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm down for that.
He does a lot of weird shit like that. So
Go through some of them and explain them to me.
So Metal Gear Solid 2.
Second one in the series.
Yeah. Well, no, listen, because it's like Metal Gear Solid 2,
Sons of Liberty.
Sons of Liberty. And Sons of Liberty was a group of people who was like a mercenary group or some shit like that. And then Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, which was like about like because that was a game where you take on the Patriots, which is like it's like basically like an Illuminati type organization.
So not like the Iron Patriot.
No, it's like an organization that like runs it's like pulls the strings behind the scenes in America and stuff like that. So it's a lot of stuff like that where like the title does allude to like something in like some situation or theme in the game.
You know what? Another one that bothers me is like when a developer or a publisher makes the assumption that something is going to be a franchise and then it doesn't happen. So Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero was supposed to be several Origin games.
Yeah.
You know?
Only got that one.
Yeah. Like that's funny to me.
And it's funny that
yes, they did Special Forces. I know,
but that wasn't Mythologies though.
Right?
Yeah, they should have done. I remember looking forward to Mortal Kombat Mythologies Johnny Cage because that would have been cool.
So that's always funny. Also, I don't like when games carry the name of a game that it's such a huge departure that it almost feels like it should be called something else. Like Quake versus every other Quake.
Yeah.
None of them feel like the original. Like, yes, first person shooty wise, they feel similar. Yes.
Sure. But even like, still, like
aesthetically and like story wise, they're so far removed from Quake.
Because I was actually just thinking about Quake 4 the other day.
Yeah.
And like, yes, like you're still fighting the Strogg in that game. But like Quake 1 was such it was more of like a horror shooter, and whereas Quake 4 is just like the straight up action game that has like similar names and themes, but
so that's always
what about,
funny to me.
I didn't play it. I only played one of them. So what about the Far Cry series? I mean, is there like a thing that like follows through with all of the games besides?
There are like things that are similar. At least, well, I haven't played any of the more recent Far Cries. But like there are things that are similar to them. In them.
The funny thing about Far Cry,
for a long time you were always a white dude, and
you're a white guy shooting up the brown people, and then you could potentially be a brown guy shooting up the white people, and it's a whole thing. But
typically you were somebody in a foreign space.
You're usually somewhere in a foreign space, and like usually you're being stealthy when you can, the whole thing with Far Cry is you tackle any situation the way that you want to. Yeah. So you can be stealthy or you can go in guns blazing, but like with
Far Cry, set the grass on fire.
Whoa! But like there's no link between Far Cry's 1 and 2. There's no link between 2 and 3.
Do you think it would? Do you think it'd be a more popular series? Not that it's like unpopular.
It's very popular.
If they did like Far Cry, like whatever area they're in, instead of like a number.
No, because like the correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Well, I guess I am wrong. In some of the older Far Cry games, like you were very obviously in this country, right?
Right.
But like more recently, it seems to be like here's a fictional country that's very much influenced by this real country.
So
well, I mean, call it whatever the game calls of wherever you are at.
Sure.
Well, Far Cry 4 took place in the fictional country of Kyrat, which is obviously Tibet.
Yeah.
And then
the
obviously.
You asked a question, Shane. I'm just trying to answer your goddamn question. But like, I think that, but I don't think like, because if you did it that way, then it'd be Far Cry 2 Africa, and right. I don't know if that would be such a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think that the numbering works fine with Far Cry because it's all about like the window dressing and the presentation with those games anyway.
And their spin-offs differentiate themselves enough from the mainline series.
Yeah. But I think the funny thing about Far Cry is in my experience, the one time that like a subsequent game was a direct sequel to a previous game was Far Cry 5 and Far Cry New Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the only time they actually had like there was like a connection between two Far Cry
And calling
games.
it Far Cry 6 would seem inappropriate if the other games weren't also connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the naming for Elder Scrolls makes sense to me because it is like Elder Scrolls this, Elder Scrolls that,
Right.
Yeah.
which is like, well, I was kind of like, oh, would it work for Far Cry? But Fallout, I mean, that one could also not be numbered, and I think do super well because
I think so too.
I played
Yeah.
2, 3, New Vegas, and then I didn't play 4, but like, I don't know.
Like the stories in those games are like, because it's always somewhere, you're always somewhere different. And so like, and like they're not connected in any way. So they're
Besides the landscape.
yeah. So like basically like they could be like, they're all like separate stories and you're a different character in each one. So like, why not?
Because you could, like, whatever vault you start off at, like, 13 or whatever, like,
Yeah.
you'd call it, like, Fallout Vault this, Fallout Vault that, same way that Elder Scrolls does, like, Elder Scrolls Morrowind, Oblivion.
Yeah. I think that the Elder Scrolls is slightly different in that you can, there's a more solid through line you can trace through those games.
Yeah, for sure.
But like the similarity between all the Fallout games is that shit's fucked up in all of them.
I've got an interesting thing that I'd like to get your guys' take on. So there's The Last of Us, and we're getting The Last of Us Part 2,
Yeah.
right? Not The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us Part 2,
Yeah.
which to me, I really liked because this is a continuation of that first story.
Right.
Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Mm-hmm.
we're getting 1/3 of that game.
Right.
Nowhere on any of the key art or box art does it let you know that you're not getting the whole story.
It just says remake.
right.
And for people, and like, unless you're in the know,
Right.
you might just think this is a remake of the whole game in one.
Right. If you
in
played
one
Final
go.
Fantasy VII when you were a kid,
Yeah. You're
and
like,
you don't keep up with the games industry, and you go to Walmart and you see it on the shelf,
especially in the wake of Resident Evil 2 remake.
right? So, like, to me, there should be something that indicates that.
Yeah. I don't think it should be the person's responsibility to like have to like watch a video or listen to a
Right.
podcast to know that.
Final Fantasy 1/3 remake.
Sure.
Sure.
Uh,
One day, 3 boys.
Final Fantasy 7.
I mean, call it Final Fantasy VII Midgar or something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
that would be more apt.
Final Fantasy 7.3333.
Sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I think Final Fantasy VII Midgar would be appropriate. But they didn't do that. And
No.
and it's funny because I don't feel like that was an accidental oversight or anything like that.
Oh, hell
Like,
no.
you know, like that's
Yeah.
I feel like that's intentionally being sold to people who will likely think that they're getting the entire Final Fantasy VII experience remade in one go.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a little underhanded, but you know, what can you do?
I always liked Professor Layton names because they're like, well, I've never read any of the books. They're titled in the same way as Harry Potter, and I feel like it's a good way of titling these games. You know, Professor Layton and the Curious Village. Like, yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah.
It also, like, you know, gives you a heads up what the game's going to be about.
Yeah,
And those do not need to be numbered.
yeah,
Didn't Phoenix Wright do that too, kind of?
yeah. Justice for All and all that. Yeah.
Danganronpa does that.
Danganronpa has numbers.
Oh, they do. I forgot.
Yeah.
Are they tied to each other? Like, is each
Yeah.
game? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much different characters, but yes, they are tied to each other.
Okay. They all have that teddy bear in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Monokuma.
I was like, what's the name again?
Yeah. I just think games are named weird and sometimes poorly.
Yeah. I think oftentimes, especially like now, like it seems like I see games with like super generic names now.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that's because like it's hard not to be derivative in some way and come up with an original name. I don't know.
Cave Story.
Don't you dare.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a
enough
boring ass name for a good game.
It's
I mean-
a great name.
I don't know
It's a
anything.
great name.
I don't know anything about Cave Story, so
I mean,
I
you
don't
start
know
off
how-
in a cave.
and there's a story.
So what's the problem here?
Well, what are we doing?
Or you just talked about very boring names.
You're a boring name.
Shanae Elaine Howard.
That's not my middle name. That is my aunt's name, though, Elaine.
Okay.
So.
Like I saw a game the other day called Warface.
I almost played that. Like, it's a real bad name,
Yeah.
but it looks kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, don't get
And
me
it's
wrong.
free.
That sounds like a game I would like on it. Like just based on the name, I was like, that sounds like a game I'd like to check out. But it's also super generic and weird. Warface.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. If you guys want to talk about any of the franchises that you think have like a fun name or a good name or anything, you can hit us up on Discord, Instagram, Twitter.
There's too many Mega Man names.
Pick one.
Those titles, there's a lot. I know they're different series.
Oh
but
yeah, I meant to say.
you got Legends and you got Maverick Hunter and you got.
When I saw Mega Man X advertised in a comic book when I was a kid, and I thought it was called Mega Man 10.
Yeah.
And then I saw Mega Man X2 came out, and I was like, "Oh, what's 10? What do you mean 10-2?"
Yeah, just put a 10 on it.
Yeah,
A 1 and a 0.
and I didn't know
Fuck
that.
binary.
I didn't know that like 7 years later, or however long it was, I was gonna get Final Fantasy 10, and then Final Fantasy 10-2. I didn't know that was gonna become a thing.
Yeah.
Fuck video games, man.
Sure.
Yeah, you can find us on most podcast
Wait,
apps.
also,
I'm not gonna be able to finish
here's
the show.
something I really dislike, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I can't think of it happening until the Super Nintendo. But like where the title of the game had to also have the title of the platform that it was on.
Oh yeah, Super Mario 64.
Super Castlevania 4, Mario 64, Pilot Wings 64, Bomberman 64, Quest 64.
That sounds like
what
a-
the
sounds
fuck?
like a
Who
Nintendo
cares?
problem.
It's mainly a
That sounds
Nintendo
like a
thing.
Nintendo
I
problem.
can't think of anything.
Sonic
that
the
has
Hedgehog Genesis. That's actually a pretty.
There was a
cool
bunch
name.
of same thing with DS. DS had a bunch of that shit.
And, I think Nintendo just likes to do that.
Nintendogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that bothers me.
Yeah.
You know,
Metopia, Metomo.
there's no console called Metopia.
But you don't like hear like little Microsoft avatars having their name and stuff.
Yeah, but those are me games. It makes sense. All right. Now you're getting ready to piss me off.
Wait. I figured you just stayed there as soon as I came around.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you can find us on most podcast apps, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify.
Oh my God.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.